What's going on, everyone? Adam Gelman here, doing another video for the WTC TV network here. Been doing some of these Tale of the Tapes videos to give collector perspective as it happens from different parts of the WWE releases under Panini and how some of the other sports may be contributing to some of the popularity of the different sets and different cards that are hot right now. Today, I'm going to be covering the Impeccable championship cards, which have four different subsets, not all related to the championships, but you got the championships, which represent how many they've won. They're numbered to how many they've won. Then there is the championship debut, which is numbered to the year that they won their first championship. You have the Impeccable WrestleMania appearances, which are numbered to the amount of WrestleMania appearances they've made. And then the Impeccable Hall of Fame signatures, which are numbered to the years that they were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like a lot of the cards that I've talked about on these Tales of the Tape, a lot of them their popularity is rooted in other sports, and these cards are no different. If you look at what Impeccable represents, it is the first premium configuration that Panini has put out as part of the WWE license. So when you look at kind of the overall hobby and how the hobby is positioned to support Panini's products, you have the shiny products, which are like Prism, Select, focused at like on rainbow collectors, set collectors, the types of people that are going to gravitate towards those chrome stock cards. They have lots of packs in the boxes. They have lots of boxes in the case. Impeccable is completely different. Impeccable is a one pack configuration, has 9 cards in it. Then it has 3 boxes per case. And these Impeccable championship cards, you would expect to be pretty common, are actually probably going to be about 1 per case from what I've seen. Sometimes you have cases that have multiples, other times you have cases that have none of them. So you can imagine how crazy some of these situations can be. Now, what makes these cards cool is when you look at them, they have a really unique presentation to them. Some of them are vertical, some of them are horizontal, but they all have these big numbers on the front. And the numbers represent kind of what the cards are sort of all about. So for this Becky Lynch that I'm holding up here, she's won 6 women's titles in WWE. So there's a big 6 on the card. This is card number 1 of 6. And you can imagine that, for all of the different ones out there, they're going to look very similar to this one. I also have the championship debut, which is numbered to 16 because she won her first title in 2016. But these cards are rare and they have one parallel. So there isn't like, one of these that is numbered to 60 and then 600. No. There's only 6 of these cards. And that's unique for something like Panini, which usually incorporates a pretty large parallel structure into every single one of their cards. Even in Impeccable, the base cards have cards out of 99, out of 45, 49, out of 35, out of 25, 10, 5, and 1, or in some cases. So you've got a lot of parallels in that. You've got the patch autographs, which have 3 different parallels. You have the base autographs, which have many different parallels. You look at Select, which has like 20 different parallels across 4 different base variations. There are just one card. So you can imagine they're very difficult to come by, especially for the ones that are low numbered. Now, you have ones like Stone Cold Steve Austin, which are numbered in his championship debut to 98. So, it's cool because it's an on-card version of a Stone Cold autograph. But, you also have, some things like, the Brock Lesnar, which recently sold for $2,700. That card is number 2 of 2 because he won his first title in 2002. And you have Alita, which is 2001. So that's a 101. Now, what drives the value of these cards, besides just the rarity or scarcity of some of them, is the fact that they've been in Impeccable for a very long time. When Impeccable was first released in football, they did jersey number versions of these. So if a player was number 65, and there would be 65 of those cards. If they were number 1, like Cam Newton was at the time, then they're 1 of 1. Russell Wilson, 3 of 3. Tom Brady, 12 of 12. And those cards go for a lot of money. We're talking 5 figures in some cases. If you look at Steph Curry and Kobe Bryant, those cards have recently sold in like the $20,000 to $30,000 range. These are probably not going to sell above $3,000 or $4,000 in the lowest numbered version of these. So you can imagine that spending, $300 or $400 if you're a collector that loved these in the other sports probably isn't as big of a deal for the ones of Impeccable. Now, in addition to that, because many cards in Impeccable are rare just by nature, it's a premium product. The highest numbered card in the set is out of 99. You can imagine that, finding a card that's out of 4, out of 3, out of 7, you know, it's a rare card. It's hard to come by. So when you look at how collectors are approaching this, like if you're a player collector like I am, and I only collect Becky Lynch stuff, you can imagine that I'm chasing down the ones for her first and foremost, and I will pay whatever it is because I don't know how many of these are going to pop up. Now, if it's Stone Cold Steve Austin when there's 98 of them, that's not a rare card in Impeccable because the expectation is across 2,000, 2,100 cases of them, you're getting like one of those every 4 to 5 cases, right? So, like, him, Hogan at 84. You've got a couple of guys that are in the higher part of that range. They're not going to be that rare. But then you have like Mick Foley, who has an out of 3. You have Seth Rollins, who has an out of 4. You have Becky Lynch, who has an out of 6. Those cards are really hard to come by. And some of them are redemptions, even though the regular card is live. Like Alexa Bliss has one that's out of 5, and her card is a redemption, even though the rest of her cards are live. So you can imagine that maybe there's some that were damaged across the course of the signing. They maybe didn't get produced correctly. And if you look at these cards from like an angle, the actual numbers like recessed into the card. So you can imagine for that, there's a lot of potential for damage. So maybe they just didn't get produced right. But those cards are redemptions. Could be a while before you get those cards. Roman Reigns, redemption. He wasn't at the signing or he wasn't available for the signing. And there's potential that Roman Reigns doesn't sign for a while. So a lot of the Panini redemptions have had challenges there as well, especially with new lawsuits alleging that Panini has done all sorts of shady things with redemptions. And because of those shady things, Panini is now saying if your card sits for longer than a period of time, we're going to replace it with points. We're going to replace it with a light card. And for something like this that only has like 5 or 6 copies, that's an issue. Um, but overall, I really like these cards. I think they look awesome. The photos are great. If it's a championship card, usually it's an iconic moment. Shawn Michaels has the boyhood dream come true. That photo. Seth Rollins has the heist of the century. The photo from that. There's a lot of different ones of these cards. Like Mick Foley has from when he won on Raw. Like those are really iconic photos and iconic moments that the WWE builds their entire network around. So when you think about how each collector sort of looks at cards, they're either looking at it from the perspective of I want the person on the card, or I want the moment on the card, or like some, I want all of the cards. And then you're in a set collector chase, which I've seen become more and more sort of fervent around these cards specifically. The guy who bought the Brock Lesnar card for $2,700, he's posted multiple times on social media. He's trying to get all of them. So for a card that only has 2 copies, you've got 2 shots at it and then it's over. And there's no guarantee both of those cards show up on eBay. There's no guarantee Lita, which is the 101, shows up at all. So, I mean, if we expect that people are going to hold boxes of product and not open them and save them, like there are cards that are in those products that will never see the light of day. Additionally, there's specific situations where people aren't going to get the type of things that they need to get out of these sets, and so they're going to pay more money for the ones that pop up along the way. So overall, like we're talking about a situation now where you're competing against player collectors, you're competing against set collectors, you're competing against a lot of different people who just want the cards that represent their favorite moments in WWE. So titles to me are the biggest part of WWE. It's what everybody strives for. If you win a title in WWE, you are somebody. And a lot of these checklists are only title winners. Some of the WrestleMania appearances cards are about, multiple runs at WrestleMania, which is the biggest event of the year. Those photos and those cards are absolutely iconic photos. So, when you look at the difference of maybe a card of a rookie card, it's literally just a person standing on the card that's there from their render that has part of the WWE database, or it's an action shot from a random match. These photos are from matches that are the most important matches in WWE history. You're looking at Shawn Michaels title win where it was the boyhood dream come true. Like that is played on every show they talk about Shawn Michaels. Same with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Same with Bret Hart, who had his photo on these cards from a very iconic title win. Like you look at this and you're wondering, like, is there a better representation of the WWE in a card format? And the answer to me is probably not. Like the Undertaker card commemorates his Hall of Fame introduction in 2022. There's only 22 copies of that card. But that was recent, right? A lot of us got to experience it. I experienced that live. So, like, you can experience that in card format now. All those Undertaker collectors are going to want to say, this is the guy. This is the Hall of Fame card. I want this one. Or for his WrestleMania appearance cards, where you have the streak memorialized in card format here. He's got 27 WrestleMania appearances. The photo on the card is from WrestleMania 14, I believe, where he was, coming down the aisle in the full garb with the torches. Just absolutely iconic moments that are driving the value of these cards through the roof. And a lot of people are like, well, there's not really anything special about a Brock Lesnar autograph. There's tons of Brock Lesnar autographs out there. But because you're competing for this type of card, that's what drives the price into the places that it is. Now, the question of whether or not those prices are going to hold, I think that's yet to be seen in a lot of different ways, especially as more and more sets come out. What are they going to do next year for Impeccable? What happens when Immaculate comes out and starts, commemorating iconic moments in their signature moments set that they've done in football and other places? And then you're also considering that in sports, these are some of the most valuable commodities that exist, like $30,000 and $40,000 for the most expensive ones. Base ones, you're looking at probably $400 to $500 then, and that's just for the lower tier football and basketball guys. So these don't seem like that big of an investment when you're getting somebody, like Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart or Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker for $1,000 or $2,000. When in an NBA format, those guys would be worth probably 5 to 10x that. So it's a really cool sort of set to chase, and I really like it. It's one that I've gravitated towards. I bought a ton of Impeccable because of these cards, because of cards like these cards in the patch and relics and stuff that we're seeing there too. So I'm excited about these. I'm really curious to see how they hold up long term, because some of them are only going to have 1 or 2 sales. They're not going to have 10 to 15. So if somebody misses the first time around, they're going to have to spend that much more to get it the second time around, or risk never getting that card for their set. Or if you're the Lita 101, where Lita autographs regularly sell under $100, is that going to be a $4,000 to $5,000 card because you have 7 or 8 set collectors that all want that one card and are all sort of bidding on it if it ever surfaces? So I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on these cards. You can follow me at Sports Cards Uncensored on Twitter. That's at SC Uncensored, or at WWE Gelman on Instagram. You can visit my website, www.sportscardsuncensored.com. And don't forget to follow Wrestling Trading Cards on Twitter as well, and the site, where you can get all sorts of information about checklists and WWE releases across all different eras. So I'm going to continue making these videos, but I'm excited to start sharing more of these content. YouTube is sort of a new format for me, and I'm really excited to sort of get on and start making sense of these. But hey, leave your commentary below. Let's have a discussion about it. Hit me up on Twitter. Let's talk about these cards. What are your thoughts? What are you looking for? What's your own opinion? Talk to you guys later. See you later.